The European Commission on Thursday cleared the proposed acquisition of customer by Meta, that's previously Facebook, under the EU merger regulation. Approval of the merger is conditional on Meta fully complying with its commitments. Executive Vice President Margrethe Vestager, in charge of competition policy, said, "We need to carefully consider transactions that could further strengthen these large players increasingly dominating the digital economy. The size of the acquired company is irrelevant. Today's decision ensures that innovative competitors and new entrants can compete effectively in the customer relationship software market. The commitments offered by Meta ensure that its competitors will continue to have free and comparable access to Meta's major news channels." The decision follows an in-depth review of the proposed acquisition of Meta from Customer. Customer is a small but innovative and fast-growing player in the customer service and customer relationship management market. Such software applications are used by companies to communicate with their customers by answering questions, solving problems, and providing advice as part of the business-customer relationship. Meta's popular messaging channels WhatsApp, Instagram, and Messenger are important vehicles for customer service and CRM software providers through which companies collaborate with their customers. Meta and Customer are therefore active in vertically connected markets. The Commission's investigation focused on whether Meta could put customers competing providers of customer services and CRM software at a disadvantage. High inflation figures are increasingly determining domestic politics in Turkey. The poor balance sheets have probably cost the head of the National Statistics Authority his job. President Recep Tayyip Erdogan fired the head of Turkey's National Statistics Agency after a debate about the rapid rise in inflation in Turkey. On Saturday, Erdogan appointed the former deputy head of the Turkish Banking Supervisory Authority, Erhan Çetinkaya, to succeed Said Erdal Dinçe, the head of the authority. Erdogan gave no reasons for his decision, which came 18 months ahead of the upcoming presidential election. Dinçe was criticized in early January after his agency reported a rise in inflation of a good 36% year on year. This was the highest value for more than 19 years. The inflation rate had already reached around 21% in November 2021. In addition, the head of state threatened legal action against the publication of content in the media that was incompatible with moral and national values, as he puts them. "It would be necessary to protect people in Turkey from harmful influences of the media," Erdogan said. The media ombudsman Faruk Bildirici then accused the head of state of invoking a state of emergency against the media. Human rights groups have often complained that media critical of the government have been silenced in Turkey, especially since the failed coup against Erdogan in July 2016. Dinçe justified the inflation figures he provided. "It's not possible to publish other inflation figures than those determined by his authority." The opposition has questioned official inflation figures, suggesting that the actual rise in the cost of living is at least twice as high. Erdogan reportedly accused Dinçe of exaggerating the extent of Turkey's economic crisis. Analyst Timothy Ash of Blue Bay Asset Management in London predicted that the dismissal of the head of the statistics agency would result in a further decline in confidence in the official data. Inflation has now become one of the most important issues in Turkish politics. The main reason for the inflation is the sharp fall in the national currency. The exchange rate of the lira against the dollar had fallen by 45% within a year. Turkey is heavily dependent on imports, especially raw materials and energy. The latest statistics on the inflation rate are due to be released on Thursday, under the new head, and they're probably not. Erdogan also appointed a new justice minister on Saturday. The previous head of department, Abdulhamid Gül, will be replaced by former deputy prime minister Bekir Bozdağ. Gül had previously announced his resignation in a brief statement on Twitter. For 7 ballots, Italy's politicians have been unsuccessfully looking for a new head of state. Possible candidates fail. The parties do not agree for a long time. And in the end, they decide to take an unusual step. Sergio Mattarella has been re-elected Italy's head of state. The 80-year-old Sicilian received more than 505 votes in the 8th ballot in Rome on Saturday, exceeding the required absolute majority. Before the presidential election, it was unclear whether Mattarella would serve a second 7-year term. Only in the course of the election, which has been dragging on since Monday, did Mattarella's re-election come into question as a possible way out for the parties. Before that, the parties had been unable to agree on a candidate for a long time. After his re-election, Sergio Mattarella has signaled his service to the Republic. The difficult days of the presidential election and the health and economic emergency required a sense of responsibility and compliance with parliamentary decisions, the 80-year-old said late Saturday evening at his official residence in Rome. And he said, "These conditions force us not to shy away from the duties that call. These must be more important than other considerations and personal perspectives," he said. He also spoke of an obligation to understand the expectations and hopes of fellow citizens. Before taking office for the second time, the 80-year-old still has to take the oath on the Constitution. His current term ends on February 3rd. According to media reports, he could then be sworn in. I spoke to the President of the Republic, Sergio Mattarella, on the phone. I assured him of the support of Forza Italia for his re-election, ex-Prime Minister Silvio Berlusconi wrote on Twitter. According to media reports, the incumbent Prime Minister Mario Draghi also spoke to Mattarella before the vote. Former Prime Minister Matteo Renzi saw Mattarella's election as the only way to protect Italy from political madness. Before the ballot, Giorgia Meloni of the far-right opposition party Fratelli d'Italia, that means Brothers of Italy, was stunned that the other parties had asked Mattarella for a second term. She tweeted, "I can't believe this." Mattarella was considered popular during his previous tenure, both with many citizens and in politics. In Italy, the president has important powers. It's different than here in Germany, where I'm sitting. He can dissolve the chambers of parliament, he signs laws and appoints ministers. Ours does that too, but he in Italy can prevent them too. He can also set issues for parliament to deal with. Italy threatened to sink into political chaos at this year's presidential election, and since Monday, Matteo Salvini's right-wing Lega in particular has proposed several candidates, but none of them have met approval, particularly in the center-left camp. On Friday evening, the Five Star Movement, the Lega and the Social Democrats of the Partito Democratico indicated that they were in favor of a woman. This was no longer the case on Saturday. Previously, Maria Elisabetta Casellati, the incumbent president of the Senate, the smaller of the two parliamentary chambers in Italy, failed in the 5th round of voting. The conservative Forza Italia politician only received 382 votes. According to observers, the result indicated that the center-right camp to which she belongs, which actually had significantly more votes on paper, did not agree on her candidacy. Storm Marc has claimed 2 lives in Britain. In Denmark, it kept thousands of rescue workers in suspense. Speeds of up to 175 kilometers per hour have been measured in Norway. So that means Storm Marc has killed at least 2 people in the UK. A 9-year-old boy was killed on Saturday in the central English village of Wynedale when a tree fell on him. A man travelling with him was seriously injured. And in the eastern Scottish coastal city of Aberdeen, a 60-year-old woman was killed by a falling tree, police in that part of the country said on Saturday. Wind speeds of almost 140 kilometers per hour were measured in the area. Across the country, more than 130,000 homes and businesses were temporarily without power because lines were cut. And meanwhile, Marc met Denmark. 10,000 rescue workers were already there, as reported by the Ritzau agency. In Frederiksund, 20 people who depend on daily care have been taken to safe places as a precaution. That was reported by broadcaster TV2. If there were floods, the supply of these people could not be guaranteed. It was said to be the reason for this. And on the island of Zealand, on which the capital Copenhagen is located, almost all regional train services have been suspended as a precaution. The Øresund Bridge, which connects Copenhagen with Sweden, has been closed. There was also storm damage in Norway. In the village of Vaksdal near Bergen, almost an entire football pitch collapsed. Extremely high wind speeds of up to 175 kilometers per hour were measured on the coast of Norway. And in Scotland, the weather service warned of further strong winds and heavy rain despite the departure of Malik. A new storm was brewing in the north of the British Isles, which authorities were christening Corrie. And I'll see you in my next video. Bis gleich.